right, guys. So we talked a little bit yesterday about clocks and how to read a clock and what an analog clock is. And so we're just going to review that a little bit, and then we're going to talk about actually telling the time. So we can see an analog clock has an hour hand that points to the hour and a minute hand that points to the minute. So this is an analog clock. It's like a clock that we have in our classroom. And I'm so sad we don't have our classroom clock because it has all of our little pieces of paper on the outside that tell us what the minutes are that each of those hour marks are equal to. So sad that we don't have that, but good that we made our own paper plate clocks. So that's good. So here we go. So we have an analog clock right here. The shorter hand is the hour hand and the longer hand is the minute hand. Okay. And then we have a digital clock. So you probably see digital clocks a lot more than you see analog clocks. And digital clocks are like the clock on your phone, or not your phone, but like my phone or your parents' phone, or it's the clock on the TV, or it's the clock in the car, or it's the clock on the oven or the microwave. Just all of the places that you see a digital readout of a time where you don't have to like look at the hour and the minute hands and figure out what time it is. So that's a digital clock, that's an analog clock. So what we're going to be doing down here is today we're just going to be talking about telling time to the hour. And this should be just review for you. You should have already been talking about this in kindergarten and first grade. So we're just going to review a little bit. So let me get my handy dandy marker. And we've got all of these are, if you notice, all of these are pointing, the minute hand is pointing to the 12. So on an analog clock, when it is on the hour, so when you see o'clock, 3 o'clock where it's 00 in the minutes, that is happening whenever it's the beginning of the hour, which we can see whenever the shorthand is pointing exactly on a number and the longhand is pointing exactly on the 12. That would be o'clock, something o'clock. So let's look. On this first one, we see that the shorthand is pointing to the 9 and the longhand is pointing to the 12. The shorthand is the hour hand, so I know it's 9 something. And because it's pointing directly at the 12, it is 9 o'clock. So I'm going to write 9 in the hour spot and 00 in the minutes. So on a digital clock, I didn't mention this before, but in a digital clock, the number before the little colon right here, this is called a colon, the two dots together like this. The number at the beginning is the hour number, and then the minutes are after the hour. So the minutes are after that little colon right there. And we always have 2 digits in the minutes on a digital clock, okay? So even though it's 0 minutes, I need to write 00 on my time. All right, the next one we've got, the shorthand is the hour hand, and it's pointing at the 11. Longhand is the minute hand. It's pointing exactly on that 12, so I know that that is 11 o'clock. So I'm going to write 11, and then these 2 zeros means it's exactly on the hour, which is 11 o'clock. Let me write down here. So this would be 9 o'clock, 11 o'clock. On this next one, we see that the hour hand is pointing to the 6 exactly, which means it's going to be 6 something. And I see that the minute hand is pointing directly on the 12, so it should be 6 o'clock. So I'll write that right here, 6. 00 for o'clock, 6 o'clock. Okay, so this talk about down here says, how is an analog clock similar to a number line? Well, an analog clock does show, let's look at it. So you see these little tick marks? Well, this is kind of like a round number line. It's basically, if I would stretch this out, it would look like this. It would say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, gotta keep going. 10, 11, 12. Okay. And then I could also say it like a number line that shows the minutes. So this number line up here would show the hours, right? And then this number line up here would show, down here would show the minutes. So I would have 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, right? So that looks like a number line that we've seen before. Even though this number line is counting by 5s, technically I have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, right? So it's just like a number line, but it's round. Oh, goodness gracious. There we go. So that is how an analog clock is similar to a number line. And over here, we're just going to practice how to continue reading these clocks to the hour. So I'm going to do just 2 of each on those right there. So on this first clock, we have the hour hand is pointing to the 1. The minute hand is pointing to the 12. So I know that would be 1 o'clock. So I would say 1, 00 for the minutes, 1 o'clock. Over here, we have the 8 is on the hour hand is pointing at the 8. So it's going to be 8 something. And the minute hand is pointing at the 12. So it's going to be 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock, 8 o'clock. So this is just 2 different ways to write this, right? I could use words to say o'clock, or I could just read the digital clock and say o'clock whenever I get to these minutes right here. Now let's see how to draw these hands. I'm going to use the same colors they did. So on this first one, it says 5 o'clock. So I know that if it's 5 o'clock, I know that the hour hand, the shorter hand, is going to be pointing at the 5. Okay, and then for it to be o'clock, I'm going to have the minute hand be pointing exactly on that 12. And you see that the hour hand is shorter than the minute hand in this case. And the digital time would be 5:00, 5 o'clock. All right, let's do the next one. This next one says 10 o'clock. So I know that the hour is going to be 10. And I'm going to point that hour hand exactly at the 10. And then I'm going to point the minute hand exactly on the 12. 10 o'clock. Let's do one more of these actually. Okay, 3 o'clock. So I know 3 is my hour, so I'm going to point my short hand, my hour hand directly at that 3. And the minute hand is going to point exactly at the 12 for o'clock, and it should look like this, 3:00. All right, guys, thanks for watching. We're going to talk a little bit more about some other minutes in the next video.